but I think Samus is the real queen of crouch cancel. Like, can do that with moves up until crazy percent, like 80, 90. And Marth, like, none of his, or some of his moves are like pretty good at like breaking the crouch cancel, but like for him, the biggest strength is going to be basically utilizing the range of his sword, so that it's like, yeah, you can crouch cancel my move, but if you do that, I'm not really bothered about it because I'm so far away that you can't get a counter hit. And then we see as well LELA going for it, but just missing. Ooh. Must grab as well. Obviously, you know, you can't crouch cancel grab none of that. So strong start to come here with Paperkoops.
Yep.
Yeah, big missile.
Yeah, she's really staying away, not really taking any risks.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you can't really take risks against a Mario.
Oh, gets caught double jumping there, and does have the bomb jump, and probably will make it with the tether. Air dodge into tether here. Yeah. Oh, no tether now. Oh, but does just manage to make it back to stage. Good effort from LELA for sure. I really respect the way LELA's trying to go out there and like, you know, interrupt Paperkoopa during her like bomb jumps and during her recovery, because that is a time when she is vulnerable. But you do need to be careful as well when you're messing around off the stage. So there we go. LELA does even it up. We saw in that first couple stocks, like, Paperkoopa really does seem to be happy to sort of play a little bit more defensively and play in the corner.
Okay.
And in the corner of the stage is definitely like a bit of a double-edged sword, right? You know, if someone comes towards you and they overextend, you can reversal, you can put them off stage. But at the same time, you don't have any room to dash back or anything like that. So definitely need to be careful, but can work out. And you can see Paperkoopa, despite not having any platforms, still trying to make use of these short missiles to just, you know, to zone LELA, control her movement, and things like that.
Fair enough. Thank you.
That's okay. That was a very long explanation, but
it was a great explanation. Thank you so much for explaining.
So yeah, being very competitive here. Obviously, these missiles I mentioned, like, they can be a lot worse on other stages, but on FD, still a little bit of a problem. LELA has a few options for dealing with them. Like, as Marth, obviously, yeah, you can jump around them, you can shield them, but ideally, you don't want to be shielding them. Like, you can, as we just seen there, crouch under, or you can just actually use your sword to clank with the missiles, and you will just interrupt it, and it will not hit you, which is like a really useful thing to do. Way less lag than if you are going to shield it or something like that. Ooh, Paperkoopa ends up going off stage. Ooh, almost lost the stock a real low percent now, but still risky, in a precarious situation, and LELA rolls up.
Yeah.
Great stock there. So Paperkoopa, I feel like she was generally holding the lead a little bit in this game, just taking the stocks first, whilst LELA was equalizing them. Just one little mishap at the edge. As I mentioned, the knife edge scenario comes back to bite her, and now it's LELA's forcing her into the corner, is doing a lot of extra credit. Ooh, I looked like LELA tried to put out a down tilt there, but it just clanked and got eaten by Paperkoopa's down smash. And you see Paperkoopa in the edge here again, and I think she just double jumped, or she definitely did now. And, you know, when you're Samus, you're using a double jump off stage, that is definitely risky.
It's not a good idea. Yeah.
Like, getting caught without your jump is bad for any characters. Yeah, for Samus, maybe not as bad as, you know, Fox or Falco, but still very much not good. And, oh, I think that was a missed input. Maybe why not be there.
We have seen her struggle with a couple of recoveries on this game. She was off stage a lot, and yeah. So where do you think they might go next?
Where do I think they might go next? So I think a logical choice would be Pokemon Stadium. And I think another logical choice would be Dreamland. I think they would be both great selections. As I mentioned on FD, you don't really have those platforms which allow you to set up the quick sort of missile into missile. Whereas on Pokemon Stadium, the platforms are the perfect height for that, which maybe we'll see a little bit of. But basically, you can like drop through the platform, fire a missile, jump to the platform, fire a missile, and you immediately land. You can see just as soon as that missile comes out, she's able to move, which means you can drop through and fire another one, or run off the platform, come in for an approach, go for a retreat. And I think, yeah, Paperkoopa's into that style of gameplay. I think the most pleasant euphemism I've heard for her recently is she's a percent-based player. So, yeah, definitely going to see some of that. Ooh. Another recovery, though, just messing up. Really unfortunate. I wonder if there's maybe a bit of nerves coming into play there. Do you think?
It could be possible. I mean, it is a bracket where this should not be a round one set. It doesn't feel like it should be a round one set. It
Yeah.
feels like our players are extremely strong this month compared to usual, and starting with an opponent that is. Usually she gets an opponent that is not nearly as good as her in round one, and she gets some time to warm up and to deal with the nerves before having to start and actually think about what she's doing. And then today she's actually against a strong player from round one, which could be making it harder for her as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I do definitely agree. And these two, the winner of this is predicted to run up against, or will run up against Swish, who is, I think the second seed or the top seed for the tournament.
She now is the top seed. Yeah, she was the second seed, but we moved her around.
Nice. Yeah. So, that kind of shows the level of these players. They're just sort of, not quite in that top rank, but like, just below that.
Yeah, they're right in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not necessarily a place you want to be ever.
Yeah, well, it means you have the most competitive first round match if you're like a middle seed. So
yeah.
And yeah, that charge shot whiffing, definitely not what Paperkoopa was looking for there. Oh yeah, oh I love that double nair there, and LELA just got punished big time for using that side B there. Something that Mars will use off stage a lot of times, just to get a little bit more height. And recover a little bit more, but it does incur lag. And when you're doing that on the same sort of vertical plane that Samus is on, she is happy to missile you. And these strong missiles, if they hit you off stage, I mean, we've just seen it there. It's deadly.
There is one thing we'll have to ask LELA when she's done with her set is, has she switched to Marth for good? Or does she usually play Peach? Because chat is just as confused as we were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
so.
I've just seen that as well, actually. Yeah, no, definitely LELA did used to play Peach, but yeah. Several years ago, that was the last time I've seen her playing. Definitely did have a break from the game. I know I played a little bit of other fighting games as well. I think maybe I want to say Guilty Gear, but maybe I'm misremembering for a little bit. But does seem to be back on Melee now, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always nice to have people come back after a long break too.
Yeah, for sure.
New players are great. Returning players are great. Well, basically everyone who plays the game is great. It's always the same thing. But we've got to be happy when someone, when someone comes back after several years of not necessarily having news from them.
Ooh.
LELA was actually one of the first people outside of France that I ever met in Melee when we did our first Smash Sisters event, which was at Air 2016, which was the second Smash Sisters event in Europe, but first one that I did. And yeah, she was just so strong.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, Paperkoopa picks up this one. Definitely think the stage working out for a little bit there. And as well, just felt a little bit more comfortable. I think on the FD game, maybe there was a couple of flubs, which might have cost Paperkoopa her stock. And I feel like seeing a little bit less of that in the stadium game, whether it's just confidence, whether it's confidence that's coming from the stage or just from playing, getting a bit more experience. So we shall see.
It felt like there were fewer mistakes. It felt like the recoveries were much cleaner as well, and that as I said earlier, usually she gets a rather easy round one, and maybe this time it's just a matter of thinking of the game and getting used to it again. Maybe just a lack of warm up, really, and now she's back for good. So we'll see how that third game goes.
Ooh, interesting dynamic
that
here
will
now.
Be the last game.
Yeah. Game 3 here. So whoever loses this is going to go around to losers bracket. But interesting dynamic here as well. We're seeing the tri-player layout for the first time, and we saw for a little bit there as well. It seemed like Leader just said, "You know what? I've kind of had enough of this missile game on the horizontal plane. I might just come up here because then your missiles don't go up; they go side to side. So just kind of chilling out a little bit from that." But I think, wow, great timing of that get up, holding the ledge. Even with that top plat, I think just having the side ones where Paperkoopa can just set up a game, sit underneath it, and once you're underneath that platform, it can be kind of difficult for anyone to approach you. They can't really jump at you or come at you from above. So you get this nice little corridor where your missiles and your projectiles can be really effective. Ooh, LELA does catch through there with a F smash.
Yeah, The comeback is so much cleaner. Stock after stock.
Yeah, do you feel like Paperkoopa's warming up to this game a little bit? I feel like LELA it's not like definitely not the first time she played this matchup by any means, but it feels like maybe could be a little bit more confident in the matchup specifically, which would help. See a couple of times that we've just seen there, like just getting crash cancelled by coming in a little bit too close with the forward airs. That's the kind of space you want to see a bit more of, on the tipper, both for that stronger hitbox and just to keep yourself at a safe distance. But a couple of other things I mentioned, for example, oftentimes we're seeing her shield the missiles, and it's like if she's jabbing and clanking with those missiles, it makes it a lot easier to act afterwards. So, just a few little things, I think, which could definitely up a game in this matchup specifically.
Yeah, so her game is strong, but maybe her knowledge of Samus itself. Like, the thing with Samus is you don't necessarily see her as much as her tier says you should see her, if that makes sense. Like, she's a really good character, and yet you don't see her a lot unless you signed up for Rock Ball last week, where you had 14 Samuses in a 40% bracket. Yeah. Shout outs to Vlok, I know you're on stream, and to Paperkoopa, who was part of the 14. Yeah. But usually you don't run into a lot of Samuses, and it's not necessarily the kind of character that you learn to play against. Oh, and Sai, sorry. It's not necessarily the kind of character that you learn to play against if you don't have one in your region.
Yeah, for sure. And no. That's a big flub from LELA there. That's unfortunate. I felt like she was, keeping it really competitive in this final game, despite the stadium game not really going in her favor. And there's a tipper, and maybe it still is on. Do you think LELA's going to do it?
This is remarkably close.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, it feels like this last stock is going to be settled by a mistake on one part or the other. I feel like there have been a lot of either matchup or misinput mistakes that now it's just a matter of who's going to keep her nerves until the end. Yeah, who's going to stay in check
together and who's got the spaghetti.
Tisk says LELA is going to clutch it.
I think LELA might clutch it. Oh no, I don't
or
think
maybe
she's got
not.
Back. Oh no, she's so close to getting down. That whole last stock, LELA been doing such a good job keeping Paper